Hello and welcome to Berlin. You're joining us for the debrief show of round 10 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. My name is Sauna CB and I'm joined here by the delightful Georgia Henneberry. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
To the debrief show. We've got lots to get into today because that was a very, very spicy race. Lots of drama, lots of action, lots of insight to get into. First thoughts?
It was juicy. I mean, both of those races were incredibly challenging for the drivers. I mean, we saw everyone really have to be on their A game, and when they weren't on their A game, the mistakes were dire. I mean, we saw that all weekend long. It was really, really great, really intense racing, and overall, I think it was a good weekend.
I agree. Big risks equals big consequences. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. We will be getting into those in the show, and we're talking to drivers, including our race winner, Antonio Felix Costa, who's just around the corner, actually. I'm going to give him the eye. If we can get Antonio, here we go. This is a live show. This is how it works. When we want drivers, we beckon them.
He was ready.
Oh, yeah, mate. Do you want to come this side? We've got a microphone for you. We will get straight in talking to our race winner, Antonio Felix da Costa. That was a sensational drive.
Thank you.
It was congratulations. It was incredible.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Talk us through that race because we spoke just very briefly in the press conference, but that looked stressful. It looked hard to manage.
Yeah.
This race is picking up a lot.
They are very, very stressful. The thing is, everybody now is so on top of this type of race. Everybody wants to be on the same place at the same time with the same energy. And that doesn't work. So I think the best way to explain it is like yesterday after 6 laps, I thought I've been through hell and back. Everything had happened. Then I look at my dash and there's like 30 laps to go. And that's the moment I told myself, like, okay, breathe, come down. It's going to be like this for a little while longer. And it's about perspective, awareness, putting your car in the right place, keeping it clean. Because when the race starts picking up pace, it's important to have the balance, have the car solid and with a good balance. And they seem to go well for us. We seem to understand these races quite well. So yeah, I can't complain.
Was it challenging managing how aggressive you needed to be?
100%. I think that was a little lesson from yesterday. Yesterday, I think in the end, in the critical moments, I could have been a little bit more aggressive, keeping my place, and we ended up finishing 6th when the podium was definitely in the cards. And today I was a little bit more aggressive with where and how I placed my car, how I spent my energy, and worked out.
We saw a lot of contact today from pretty much all up and down
I'm
the
really
grid.
keen on going back and watching the race because I've heard loads of things.
Chaos.
Yeah, lots of contact from including your teammate and your colleagues within Andretti. There was a lot of spice going on there.
No.
Yes, unfortunately so. And obviously Oliver Rowland, I think, lost part of his front wing very early on in the race, but yet
He
somehow
always
managed to finish strong again.
Ollie wants to get rid of that thing very early on, and it's just
It's a hindrance. Just get rid of it.
for this balance.
We went a bit quite early into the insight there with your race, but I want to talk about more emotional. How that feels to win here, because not just because this is a happy hunting ground for you, you've had a lot of success here in the past, but also because of what happened in Misano, to actually cross the line and be able to keep it this time.
Are we able to keep it?
Well, fingers crossed,
I hope so.
hopefully.
Yeah, no. I was just saying earlier, honestly, like, Misano sucks because those points go away, and with that win, actually, we wouldn't look too bad in the championship right now after scoring 0 points in the first 3 races of the year. But since then, we finished on the top 6, all of them, apart from 1 race. So we've been strong lately, and but yeah, it does feel good, especially first because home race for us. We have a lot of important people here this weekend. The board members were in Spa yesterday in WEC. They got a podium. They came here today, and we got to win another podium for them. So that's amazing. And for me personally, obviously, after a tough start to the year, as a good Latin Portuguese, I never give up. But it's good to show that, and yeah. So I feel like sometimes I get hit in the knees and put down, and then again, and then I'm always able to stand back up, and it's a good feeling. It sucks. I wish I could always be standing, but yeah.
Well, and I have to know, though this is a different track layout, you've had so much success here in Berlin. What is it about Berlin and you that works so well together?
Good question.
I don't know really. It's also been cruel to me in the past.
Fair enough.
It hasn't been only success, but I have a lot of good memories here. It's where I won my championship, won a few races here, another one today, and it's like almost like a little second home when you end up. I think Oliver said it earlier. Look at him there. I think you should film this guy. Yeah.
We'll bring
We'll
him
talk
in
to
a
him in a
minute.
second.
Oliver said it earlier, when you come here for 10 days and you know, race 6 times in 10 days here, it was, yeah, feels like a second home for us. But yeah, good to win here.
Well, I mean, there is something special about Berlin. We've been here more places than any other city, you know, in the world to race Formula E. Why is it important to keep coming back? Because the fans, they love it, but also the racing. Tell us your perspective on racing here in Berlin.
You know, I have raced for another German manufacturer in this series before, for BMW, and this used to be a BMW title race, and we've had Mercedes and Audi in the series as well, and obviously it made a lot of sense to race in Germany. Now with Porsche, we are the only German manufacturer, but I think for each manufacturer to have a home race, it's very important, it's very good. We raced in India last year for Mahindra. We've been to Japan this year for Nissan. We have a race here for us, and London for Jaguar. I don't know. There's obviously, I think almost every manufacturer has a home race, and I think that's important for these guys. And as a series to keep looking after our, you know, our manufacturers is very important.
Okay, well, finally, winning the second race of a double-header means there's a bit more of an opportunity to celebrate. Can you give us some insight?
I don't think I've ever done that. Either I win the first one and then, but yeah, no, I only fly at 6 a.m. tomorrow, so gotta wake up at 3:30, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, we'll try and hook something up tonight for sure.
See you in the club.
Yeah, which one?
Any of them.
Okay, good. There's a few here.
There's a few here.
Where you want to go
choice.
super crazy or mega crazy? Just let me know.
I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much.
you.
Antonio.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Congratulations
Thank you
again.
so much.
Now let's go from the man who was at the top step of the podium to the man that was on the third step of the podium. Oliver Rowland, get yourself in here. We're live.
He's relaxing.
He's chilling
He worked
out.
hard today.
You've earned it.
Yeah,
You've
you
earned
worked
it.
hard all weekend long. Now you get to relax, but you have to talk to us first, if that's okay.
He's looking for a beer to celebrate already.
Yeah, we were talking about celebrations already. Do you feel like you can celebrate this weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think this was coming into the weekend. We knew it was difficult for Nissan last year, and it proved difficult over one lap, but we were able to somehow score 2 podiums. I'm still not really sure how. When I got to lap 12 and I was third, I kind of was like, am I dreaming? I need to wake up. But yeah, no, great race, and yeah, great credit to the team.
I want to pick apart a few things. Yesterday, P15 to the podium. Today, P16 to the podium. Today, you lost your front wing pretty, or lost its full intactness pretty early on. It yet didn't seem to bother you. What is it about that Nissan front wing? How does it survive?
Well, I'm not sure how it hangs on. You know, you see sometimes it goes under the car, but yeah, actually, I think when I lost it, it was more out of unfortunate contact with like a packing up. And then once it's kind of damaged a bit and hanging on the floor, then I guess you don't care as much about it, so you can use it a bit more. But yeah, look, it's this type of racing. It's different, but you know, you have to be aggressive and get your elbows out, and then that's what works.
Yeah, what do you kind of tell yourself before a race? You know it's going to be chaotic. You know it's going to be aggressive. How do you kind of get yourself into mode to prepare and work your way through the field?
Well, it's strange. I'm super relaxed. I get changed late. I'm just around my garage doing normal stuff, and the team are great at like preparing all the documents to tell you what you want to do, and we kind of discussed that. And yesterday we had a very clear plan of what we wanted to do. Today I wasn't as convinced with the plan A, let's say, that they proposed. And when I was on the grid, I still, when the 3-minute board and I went to P2, I still didn't know what I was going to do. And I decided in my head, okay, this is exactly the plan that I'm going to have, and I'm going to follow it, and if it works, it works. And that was to kind of save as much as I could in the first 5 laps. And I was fortunate because there were some rookies behind me and also Taylor that they kind of didn't attack me. So I managed to hold position and save a lot of energy, and that allowed me to kind of build up a buffer that I used to quickly get to the front. But you have to go quickly. If you spend 10, 12 laps doing it, then you lose a lot of energy.
I mean, I don't know how within all that you also found the time to sharpen the elbows as well, because you know there's some very close racing out there. It's very, very exciting to watch from our point of view. What's it like behind the wheel?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's good. What was quite tricky when I got to the front was the 2 Jaguars and 2 Porsches were trying to work together to keep themselves in the mix, and being a lone ranger was sometimes quite difficult, being in the middle. So often I was trying to split them and almost be aggressive towards them to say, no, I'm here to stay. You know, if you want to be hard on me, I'm going to be hard on your back, which I think you kind of have to do. It was a bit close with Pascal a couple of times, to be honest. I don't know if I upset him yesterday because he was rather aggressive with me when I got to him, but yeah, we got the job done, and that's what
I
matters.
just want to pick up on that Pascal thing, because you said an amazing bit of team radio that I think is now going to be in my top 2 of Oliver Rowland team radio. The first one was in Paris when you said, what are you complaining about? We've got all-weather tyres. It was raining. The second one was today where you said, if Pascal wants to play, we'll play.
It's true. I mean, he kind of surprised me, and I nearly ran into the back of him because he kind of brake checked me a bit in turn 12, and it nearly ended both of our races, so I was a little bit angry. And I didn't really understand it, to be honest. And since the race happened, I understand that he wasn't happy about something yesterday. But you know, he was forceful with me. But in that situation, it almost sometimes ignites the fire a bit more. So I was a bit annoyed at the situation, to be honest.
Well, and I was going to ask you, said you're a very relaxed, kind of reserved person. When the helmet goes on, does that go out the window?
Yeah, I'm completely different, honestly. Like, some of the things that I might say on the radio sometimes when I listen to them on a Monday morning and I'm sat at home having breakfast with the family, I kind of cringe a bit because it's not who I am out of the car. But ever since I was a kid, that's kind of what was drilled into me, you know, that you need to kind of stand your ground, be aggressive, fight for what you've got, and get your elbows out. And it's kind of working, so I need to keep doing it.
I mean, you say it's working. You've now got 6 podiums this season. There's only one man with more than that, and that's Nick Cassidy. So in terms of consistency, you are one of the most consistent in the paddock this season.
Yeah, I think, you know, we scored 2 no scores at the first 2 races, and since then we've done 6 in 8 races and been in the points in the others. So, well, actually not in Misano, but that could have been 7. But yeah, no, it's going fantastic. Full credit to the team. You know, we never in a million years imagined this at the start of the year, and we just need to enjoy it and keep coming to the race weekends, have fun, and see if we can take it to the big boys.
Do you believe in momentum?
Absolutely. I was never a huge believer in confidence. I was always quite hard in terms of I didn't ever believe that people could perform at a higher level with more confidence. I felt like you either had it or you didn't, and that was it. But what I learned over the last 3 years of taking away all my confidence, I learned a lot about how that can affect you and how you can doubt yourself in certain situations. And I managed to get that podium, that first one in Diriyah and that pole position, and then I start to believe in myself, and now I don't doubt anymore. And it's a bit what I keep relaying to Sasha, like Sasha's doing a great job at the moment. He just hasn't had much luck. And once he gets that podium and gets that feeling and gets that confidence, I'm sure you're going to see the same from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, well, it would be great to see. Oliver, one more question before you go. In the terms of powertrains, you know, last season we talked a lot about it being a 2 powertrain race with the Jaguar powered and the Porsche powered. Now, to me at least, it feels like it's a minimum 3, maybe 4 powertrain. You know, you guys, the Nissan power is really up there. Stellantis power. Does it feel that way, that you're bringing it to the big dogs now in both the drivers and the teams championships?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're proving that we can compete, which is important. I think we've done a lot of work over the last 12 months to make sure that next year's package is even stronger. So if we're already able to perform like we are, then I think next year is going to be super positive. But I think you see DS in qualifying are very strong. I think, was it today or yesterday, they had 4 cars in the duels. Yeah. Even Mahindra this weekend, you know, they've taken big strides compared to where I was with them last year, and you know, they got pole position and their 1-lap pace is very strong. So the championship's super competitive. But yeah, as it goes back, I think Nissan have done a great job, but this is still a rebuilding phase for us, and we need to remember that.
I lied. I've got one more question for you that you just made me think of. I want to get your insight as a driver and someone who's very clued up and knowledgeable about racing. We're seeing a little bit more since Monaco, at least, that both drivers being near each other. Is that something, you know, when that comes into the race and the influence that has on the actual the outcome of the race, is that an intended thing as a strategy? You know, is it all about attack mode, or is there other benefits? And why are we seeing it more this season than ever before?
You mean with teammates?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important because I don't know if you saw at some point in that race when I got to the front, the Porsches were doing like a dual side by side to not let people get in front.
Synchronized driving.
And you can do this, like if you saw a lot of times into turn 9 we were side by side.
Yeah.
If you're side by side with your teammate, he can give you room on the exit, you can give him room on the entry, and you can kind of stay in your position without consuming energy. So it is very important. I think Monaco is slightly different because the attack mode, you could back people up and take it, and it was giving you quite a big advantage there. But for sure, when you have someone that's not trying to force you in the wall and get your elbows out, it helps, right? One person, you can only have 3 around you, so if one's your friend, then it already helps.
Yeah, because I expected to see that with the Andretti's and the Jaguars earlier in the race, that they would almost just block out the top 4, but it didn't pan out that way.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happens in Andretti's. When I got there, they were already kind of down to 6th or 7th, and I feel like when you do that, you make yourself a bit in the trouble, you know, because when you're 6th or 7th, people are biting at your ankles. They want to get you, you know, because they want to get towards the front. But yeah, certainly when I got there, it was more the Jags and the Porsche, and they were pretty robust in terms of like trying to make sure that they had their friend next to them, and that meant sometimes forcing me out and compromising me a little bit. But yeah, it was good fun.
Congratulations on a incredible weekend here in Berlin.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the celebrations, mate.
Yeah.
See you in Shanghai.
Thanks.
We'll take the mic there. You can't keep that. Thanks. There we go.
We're for it.
Right, before we get into more analysis, because obviously there's other stories up and down the grid that we need to talk about,
Definitely.
let's just touch base and remind ourselves of some of the contact that we saw in today's race, because it was spicy, like you said.
It was.
Rod, so he's on the outside of turn 7. He's going to get shuffled into the wall. I think it was mostly advertising hoarding there rather than car into turn 2. So you can see him there in the mix. He's the blue car in the background of your picture. We're going to just catch the end of this one. So there's been a contact there with the DS Penske, and it's already happened by that point. It's broken the steering arm, isn't it?
No, I think he's actually knocked the front wing underneath the wheels of the car. And that's what has then lifted the car up, and he's driven into the wall from there.
Let's have a look on board.
Look at the left-hand mirror.
Oh, he's clattered into the back. Was that a Nissan? I think it might have been.
But
That will
now
be on the left.
he's going to come up the inside, isn't he? Oh, come on.
Yeah, Nato, it looks as if they're on the first view that he went in a little bit too quick.
Round of applause from
Félicitations
Fenestras.
there from Fenestras to his French colleague.
Yeah. I can imagine you saying something a bit stronger than salute for him. It's never on that move, was it?
No.
Right. Yeah. Well, there we go.
And lots of contact there. A very, higher intensity race there. Georgia, let's talk about the other man on the podium, Nick Cassidy. Started P2, finished there.
I mean, it's just been strong all weekend long. Saw him on the tops. Well, the team has been strong all weekend long as well. So I talked to him on the podium. He was really happy. And I think this race specifically, these drivers really had to work for it. Though he started up in the field, he really had to be on his A game that entire time. And you could just tell once they reached the podium, they got up there. It's like this weight has just been lifted. They did their job, and he was happy about it.
It was such a different style of racing yesterday for him than we saw today.
Definitely.
For example, where he started yesterday, I think it was it 9th or 10th, dropped all the way back down to 18th, 19th, they're even worse, and then ends up winning the race. That even if you told that to a stranger with no context, they wouldn't believe you.
There were a couple drivers yesterday that made pit stops, came back out, and still scored points.
Absolutely.
I think this track promotes racing that anything can happen.
And now Nick Cassidy has shown us that he can win in all different styles and all shapes and sizes, whether it be a peloton energy sensitive race where he comes from the back, whether it be leading kind of from the front or doing what he can to stay in those top 3 positions. He now just has everything, doesn't he? He's got the full package.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're only halfway through the season, so really anything can happen through the rest of the season. But I think he's going to be a factor each and every weekend.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Now, we spoke to our winner. We spoke to our second and third on the podium, but a lot that went on in this race. Let's take a look at the highlights from round 10.
It's round 9 of the 2024 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Eyes on the lights. The Berlin E-Prix is underway as Mortara leads the way from the front.
And full push, Can't stop or go a bit. I'm doing all the walk around now.
I don't know what is happening. The style of racing is just getting a little edgier, a little more frenetic.
Pick your line here, boys, in the melee of all the chaos. Fenestras who gets shoved into the wall.
I got spun from behind. Oh, man.
Degrassi's car bent like a banana. 3 wide. Oh, Gunter's in the wall. Contact with Hughes.
You okay? Sorry, guys.
Elbows out, they have to fight.
Overtake.
Yes, let's use the power.
It's all going to concertina up. We've seen some big sense here.
You've got to have eyes in the back of your head, in the front of your head, and the sides to be able to work what's going on.
4 abreast for the lead.
Race is fast.
Verne leads across the timing line.
Nick Cassidy from absolutely nowhere. He is up in second place.
This is fantastic driving from Nick Cassidy. Great strategy once again.
He's gone. This is now Nick Cassidy's race to lose.
And he wins the Berlin E-Prix.
It's incredibly intelligent drive from Nick Cassidy. I'm amazed.
Oh yes, beauty. You smashed it, mate. If ever there was a tale of never give up, it's that.
Very dramatic race there. Good to actually watch that back and see how it all unfolded. Katie, welcome. You're joining us as championship journalist. Always a pleasure to have you here. First of all, I want to go straight to you and just follow on the conversation we were just having about Nick Cassidy. Because consistency-wise, 7 podiums, not just that, 5 fastest laps as well. The man loves points.
He does. He's getting greedy. 140 points he's got now at the top of the championship standings. Next closest is behind him on 124. So, yeah, he's pulled a nice gap. Obviously, Pascal Wehrlein came into this weekend as a championship leader. But if we know anything in Formula E, it's that things don't stay the same way for long. So, yeah, I'm sure Nick Cassidy will be super happy with another 2 podiums in the bank, leading the championship standings as we go to Shanghai.
And I think we do have to mention consistency wins championships.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at the other side of the garage though with Mitch Evans, I just don't know what to make of that with Mitch, because, you know, he gets himself into those positions where a win or a podium at least is on the cards. And, you know, we've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times this season where just something happens, he finds trouble, and then he ends up off the podium.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite surprised by their strategy with the attack mode today. He was, if not the last, one of the last to take that second one. Whether that's a decision that Jaguar decided ahead of the race, or maybe we saw cars so close together going into that sort of corner where the attack mode is that maybe he wasn't able to take it as soon as he wanted. I don't know, but yeah, it was quite a questionable decision in my opinion. But the others managed to take it really early, get it sort of done and over with. But yeah, I really do feel for Mitch, because every year we come into the championship and it's always like, you know, the phrase, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And this year, he's not even a maid of honor. Like,
Katie, that is superb.
Thank you.
I love that.
But yeah, I really hope that there's some sort of thing. Maybe we're like now over halfway through the season. Maybe there'll be a chance to pull these back. She's a goner, but yeah, poor Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think, you know, we caught up with James Barkley just before we went live, and he wasn't too displeased. You know, there's a lot of points that they got for the team, but you do just have to think that the hype that we were giving that Jaguar pairing before the season, it was like we were expecting 1-2s left, right and centre, they'd walk the championship. They've had 1 in 10 rounds.
I have to imagine tensions are probably building as well, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, watching some of them racing today, I was thinking, this is getting spicy. This could be a recipe for disaster, but they kept it clean. But yeah, I really do wonder when these fireworks will appear, if and when, I guess. But yeah, I feel like something's building there. I mean, naturally, Mitch Evans has been there since season 3, since the team was formed. He's done the 100 races with them, and Nick Cassidy sort of walked in, has been Mr. Consistent, and that's surely, I don't care if they've been friends since they were 13, like that's gonna irk Mitch Evans.
I do think so. I mean, they've been, I think it's 6 actually. They've been racing since they were 6 years. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting, and we were talking to someone from Jag about this, that Nick's kind of strategic mind, his intelligence,
so blimmin' clever
when he's driving,
yeah.
You know, and that's something I think that he shows, or at least displays publicly more than Mitch does. So when he's there on the radio talking about strategy and saying like, Mitch needs to be doing this, Mitch needs to be doing that, I think that might be something that might deepen that crack as well in the team.
I would think so.
We have a lot of double headers left on the schedule, so lots of time for events to occur.
For sure. Okay, in other news of, or in the topic of, let's say, disappointment, let's talk about reigning champion Jake Dennis.
Right.
Yesterday, definitely a race to forget, although almost a race to be immortalised, but it didn't work out that way. Today, he starts on pole position, doesn't quite make it to the podium, and even finishes a little bit further down than that.
Yeah, tricky weekend for Jake. I think I love watching the racing between him and Ollie. Like when he was on the added lap, he was saying that him and Ollie go back, they love racing each other, they're kind of, I guess, maybe best friends from the guys that are in the paddock, but yeah, naturally he's going to be disappointed in that. I mean, coming from Monaco, where he really did have another shocker, it's a tricky kind of thing to process. But if we know anything about Jake Dennis, it's that he loves a bounce back. I mean, look at him last season, had a series of races where things weren't going his way, picked himself back up and managed to win a championship. So I think don't write him off just because he's had a few tough races. I'm sure he'll come back fighting in Shanghai.
Not to mention frustrating after you qualify and put it on the pole, too.
So true,
I'm sure that was very surprising in a way for him as well.
Well, I mean, not just to mention, not just being on pole, but having your teammate just in the row behind you.
Yeah.
You know, everything at that point is, wow, we can completely control this race.
I mean, and speaking of teammates, Norman did not have an ideal day as well.
No, he didn't.
Got given a round of applause by Sasha Finistraz, which was quite iconic. But
nice gesture.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Just to cover off a few other points, you know, in terms of disappointment, we've got to talk about Maximilian Günther, double DNF and a double header and a double home race. That's not what you want as a German driver, is it at all?
No, I mean, obviously we've got the highs of Porsche winning in Germany for the first time. Like, great story there. But yeah, for Max Günther, that is far from the ideal weekend for him. I mean, here in Berlin, there's so many happy memories from last year. It's where he kind of made that breakthrough, got into the points, even to the podium. And yeah, unfortunately wasn't able to replicate that. I really thought that there was a chance that we could see another Max podium here this weekend, but one way or another through contact, it's just not been his weekend, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm going to throw it to you guys watching because we need your fan questions. We're going to come into fan questions in just a few minutes, so let's get them in the chat. If you haven't done it already, we want more. In the meantime, let's talk about a few other storylines because I want to give some major plaudits to Mr. Taylor Barnard because that was superb. You know, in his second full weekend racing in Formula E, he scores double points.
Amazing work. And I think Taylor, I've heard it say all over broadcast over the weekend, but he really is like wise beyond his years. Speaking to him in the media pen, he's so mature. He's, you know, if that was me at 19, I'd be like jumping and skipping around, giddy as anything. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's been with the McLaren team for some time now, sort of watching from the sidelines, but yeah, like, can't ask much more. He's delivered when he's been given the opportunity, and some really wholesome radio as well. I mean, we're expecting Samba to be back in the car for Shanghai, but yeah, just thanking the team for the opportunity. It was just, yeah, a really lovely addition to the paddock.
And he's getting pointers from Sam Bird, so I'm sure he's learning quite a bit. This has been an incredible experience for him, but he's really made the most of it.
I just say I fear for anyone that tries to overtake him at Imola next weekend or whenever in a few weekends' time. Because, you know, when you come to Formula E, you learn how to race different and you learn how to race with the best of the best, which we have in this championship. Now, before we go to fan questions, just one last question for you. Taking stock of where we are in the season, looking at the championship, you know, there is less than a race worth of points between the top three. Oliver Rowland, then it's Pascal Wehrlein and Nick Cassidy. Jake Dennis is behind that, but that gap is starting to build. What do you make of it?
Well, I was looking at the results, and for Pascal Wehrlein, yes, he's second in the championship, but I'm surprised the only 2 podiums he's had this season have been wins. So if he can kind of turn that round, yes, he's been consistent in other ways, finishing 4th, 5th, picking up those points, but if he can attack these last few races, get a few more podiums, I think that, like, really, it could be Pascal's, but let's wait and see. I mean, the races as well that we've got coming up, I know Nick Cassidy has kind of said that he's not too sure about how the Jaguar powertrains are going to be performing in Shanghai, Portland, those likes, even though he had a win there last year. So I feel like he's just saying stuff to keep us on our toes.
Humble.
He is, yeah. Then he can come and win it and be like, oh, I didn't think I was going to do well. But I genuinely think that Porsche powertrain in these next couple of races should be feared. So I'm gonna say Pascal. I think he can pull some stuff out the bag.
Any predictions, Georgia? Who have you got your eye on for the next 3 double headers?
I feel like I need to be left out of this conversation because it changes every race.
It's hard.
Like, if you would have asked me before the weekend, it wouldn't be the same answer that I have now. So I don't know. I'm kind of liking the looks of like an Ollie Rowland.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about, consistency wins championships. He's been very, very consistent over the course of the season, and if that continues, I don't see why any reason it wouldn't be him.
You can't rule him out. You know, he's just been showing us time and time again he can do it in any sort of race. The other name I'm going to throw in is, although it was a disappointing day yesterday, slightly disappointing today, Jake Dennis. Because one thing they did show today is their 1-lap pace is there. That's what they've struggled with all season up to this point. They've done all their success in the racing. Now, if they can keep getting themselves into good positions in qualifying, starting the race outside of the jungle, so they haven't got to keep surviving, and they can actually try and push for good points and podiums. I think Jake Dennis, you know, I'm not ruling him out yet at all.
For sure, you can't rule him out. Reigning champion, he's there for a reason. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they can pull out the bag.
Now, Katie, I can see you've got a phone in your hand.
I do.
There's fan questions. They've come in thick and fast.
We do. I think we might only have time for 1 or 2.
Okay.
But one of the ones, with 6 rounds left, contracts are becoming a hot topic around the paddock. So, yeah, anything you guys want to kind of mention about that? Because
I don't have any juice. I don't have any scoop for that. I feel like I'm learning every time I come to the racetrack. So,
you know what was interesting one about this weekend is because of the stand-ins, right? They weren't just standing in, they were interviewing.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Joel Eriksson, you know, Paul Aaron, they can both leave here with their head held pretty high.
I
think they've done well. I think Kelvin Van Lien was unlucky. But then, you know, we have a day of rookie testing tomorrow with some of the brightest new drivers and young talent, and not necessarily young talent, but well-accomplished drivers, DTM winners, F2 leaders, all sorts, taking part in the rookie test tomorrow. So yeah, I actually wouldn't really want to be a team principal right now.
No, I love it. Like, it's quite different as to we see in other championships. We don't really have many drivers signing massive long-term deals. I mean, Mitch Evans of Jaguar is one, which is a multi-year contract. But yeah, it's kind of all to play for, and there could be so much movement going into the Gen 3 Evo era.
In my eyes, top prospect would be Taylor Barnard. I mean,
Yes.
if that was an interview, he knocked it out of the park.
So a slightly controversial question then, just to follow up on this fan question. Which seat do you think is most at risk?
Ooh.
I don't know his risk, but I think bringing it back to the Envision guys.
Yeah.
I think with Sebastian Buemi and Robin Friends both being here today, keeping an eye on how things are going, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, they're the reigning team champions at the end of the day, and they just haven't been delivering, whether that's through driver error or just the team in general is not quite there. But I think we might see, my guess is maybe some different faces in there for next season.
Yeah, I'm going to throw one in there. Mine is maybe a Norman. Just because of what Roger said in the press conference to a question, you know, he wasn't mincing his words. He says, everyone knows the deal. You perform. If you don't perform, there's consequences. And at the moment, Norman, I don't think has stepped up to the mark that they potentially want him to step up to.
I think that's fair.
Have we got time for any other questions? One more question?
One more.
So one more question.
Let's have a look.
Let's make it a good one.
We have. Hold on. Which race are you most looking forward to this season that's left? Got the choice of 3.
Yeah, so we've got Shanghai, Portland, or London. I mean, it's always good to finish off in London. It's a home race for myself. A lot of drivers, British bias. It's literally 3 kilometres from my house.
Oh, okay.
Nice and easy to get to.
You get to sleep in your own bed
Public
at night.
transport.
Yeah, exactly. But I am looking forward to Shanghai as a new location. I think it's going to be a really interesting circuit. It's very interesting racing. And Portland was awesome last year, so I enjoyed Portland too. You guys?
They've all been new for me. I've
That's
enjoyed
true, yeah.
every single one of them. So I don't think I can narrow it down because each race has surprised me in some different way that I wasn't expecting. So I'm just excited for the rest of the season.
Surely the one that won't give you jet lag.
I'm just happy to be here. Yeah. Portland. Well, I'll go with Portland.
Yeah, I'm going to go with London as well. I love the season finale in London, around the XL, the indoor-outdoor. It's just so different. I love it.
Nice.
So, yeah, London.
Okay, well, lots to look forward to.
There is.
That's the end of this debrief show, the doubleheader in Berlin. Nick Cassidy won yesterday. It was, I've gone blank. Oh my God, who won the race today? We've just been talking about loads. Antonio Felix Acosta! Had ya, yeah. Nick Cassidy yesterday, Antonio Felix Acosta today. Lots of storylines unfolding across the championships as we go into our remaining 3 doubleheaders in Shanghai, the first coming up in just a couple of weeks. Season 10 is always and will always be forever still on.
It's round 10 of the 2024 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We are here in Berlin. It's time for takeoff in Tempelhof. Lights out and we're underway. Fantastic getaway. Nick Cassidy leads in towards the first corner. Side by side with this, gets shuffled into the wall. Contact, that's Mortara. Oh, Gunter, who's come into some strife. Stoffel Van Dorn is steaming to the inside. Oh, he's out of control.
Oh, come on. So
it's Nato and Fenestraz that have come to blows.
Round of applause.
A bit rough and tumble.
Evans is deep through. Antonio Felix Acosta. Gloves are off in terms of team orders. Cassidy ahead of Mitch Evans. It's a DAC attack in Germany as he wins for TAC Heuer Porsche.
Yes!